Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, dear colleagues, students. Today we're going to talk about miscellaneous rules of error identification. First of all, let's try to analyze the difference between mistake and errors. Mistakes are the scenario in which learner knows the correct form but has temporarily forgotten it. In this scenario, the user of language does have the correct knowledge, but even then there is a mistake because for that moment the learner is not in a position to use correct language. On the other hand, in an error scenario, an error is made when a learner doesn't know that he is incorrect. So in the mistake scenario, there is no lack of knowledge, while in the error scenario, there is lack of knowledge or there is wrong knowledge. Now, once we try to discuss the miscellaneous errors, how is the identifying error section formatted? The following is a sentence that contains a single error. Select the one underlined part that must be changed to make the sentence correct. There is a sentence in which subject verb agreement mistake is there. Cola nuts are the caffeine rich nuts. So over here we have a subject which is nuts. Of cola aminate and cola nitide evergreen forest trees. Over here the shift of the subject trees that are, and this that is further carrying trees as a subject that are native to tropical, that the trees is a plural subject that are native to tropical West Africa and that are member. So we have to be cautious that if we are carrying a singular subject, we are supposed to take every verb or every other aspect in the singular section, and if we are carrying a plural subject, we are supposed to carry the plurality. So the subject is plural over here. The trees, they cannot be a member, they're supposed to be members of the same botanical family as cocas. So over here beta is the correct answer. Now there are some strategies that we can take up for grammar questions. First of all, carefully read straight through the sentence to get a feel of how it sounds, what it is about, and if everything makes grammatical sense. For example, the formula of subject plus verb plus object is fulfilled or not, and things like that. Don't just assume that it sounds right. You're not supposed to assume that everything is correct. Everything should be correct on ground. Think of proper grammar that we are going to discuss next. Strategy 2, go down the list of common errors because it will most likely to be one of them. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these 6, this is a list of 6 mostly occurring grammar errors. So most probably in 80% plus cases, your question may carry any one of these areas. A mistake which is related to any one of these areas, and we're going to discuss these areas next. Trim the fat. For example, if there is a very long sentence, even then there is supposed to be a subject and a verb because the subject is a noun. There may be some adjectives attached. If a verb is there, then there may be some adverb attached, and things like that. A sentence will often contain extraneous phrases that can distract you from the meat of the sentence. Focus on the most important part, the subject and verb. So we are supposed to focus on the most important part, the subject and verb. Read the sentence matching the subjects to the verbs that are underlined, likely the error, then tackle the other answer choices. Example for eliminating extras and focusing on the subject and verb. For example, this is a sentence, maths. So over here, maths is a subject developed over 2000 years ago. All of this section is explaining maths have been a favorite of teachers. So over here, this have is wrong because math over here is a singular subject. Math has been a favorite of teachers and school children alike for generations. Here's how to crack it. Trim the fat. What's the subject of the sentence? Math. No error with the subject. Then look at the verb developed and have been. Math developed correct. Math have been incorrect. So as I told you, singular subject takes a singular verb. Math is singular, so it needs a singular verb. Math has been. Therefore, B is the correct answer. So this is the strategy. Next strategy, analyze the underlined words or phrases. What part of speech are they? Do they correctly coincide with the rest of the sentence? Are they grammatically correct? Subject verb agreements related one example is over here. For example, there is a simple rule. Singular subjects with singular verbs are used. Plural subjects with plural verbs used. If you're given a singular subject, he, she, it, then your verb must be singular. Is, has, was, and the verb is the person. Regarding verb forms, tenses, voices, finite and non-finite verbs, numbers, these are the most important things that can occur in the error identification questions. For example, there are some examples. Every one of the body's billions of cells requires. Over here, this one is a singular subject, so we need a singular verb. That singular subject requires a singular verb. So everyone is a singular subject, requires is a singular verb. The most important period of physical growth in humans occurred during theirs. This theirs is wrong because it should be their first 2 years. In 1994, biologist Charles Mechner devised a rather complicated system for to classify. For classification, it should be for classification because to classify is an infinitive. We need and before that there is a preposition, and after a preposition we need a noun structure. We need a noun structure. So classification of the appropriately 20,000 species of bees. So okay, now let's look at the subject verb agreement section and another example. The answers given by the commission appears. So the answer is a plural subject. So we need a plural verb. This S is wrong over here, and the explanation is given. Next, subject verb agreement. Do all the noun subjects agree with their verbs? Some animals, such as the hedgehog, appear quite timid, but they can become fierce enemies when they perceive a threat to their babies. So there cannot be one baby of a lot of animals. Every animal has its own baby. So over here, this baby is wrong. It should be babies. Ji. Okay, let's discuss numbers of nouns and some examples related to it. Hydrophobia are diseases that can be transmitted to human body by animals. Hydrophobia are diseases that can be transmitted to human. Human is a singular, so there should be humans because certainly just one human is not mentioned over here. Many humans are supposed to be the target of the diseases. A recent bestseller has been written about Sacagawea and their life as an Indian guide for the Lewis and Clark expedition. A recent bestseller has been written about Sacagawea and so Sacagawea is a singular subject, singular noun, and its life or his life rather. So this there is wrong. It should be his, or I don't know if it is a female noun, then it should be her, but it doesn't make any difference. The answer is lies here in this area. Next question. The 15th Asian Games started last night with the opening ceremonies featuring thousands of artists. So artists is singular. Thousands cannot be singular. Thousands of artists. In this way, we looked at three examples of the errors related to number of nouns. Then we discussed pronouns, pronoun errors. As you people have already studied the singular and plural nature of pronouns. One aspect which is very important regarding pronouns is their cases. So actually over here we are discussing cases. So singular and plural. The list is in front of you. Subjects are like this, singular and plural. Pronoun error examples. The safety check of the new vehicle, including an inspection of the brakes and wheel alignment, was performed by he and the mechanic. A very important rule. By is a preposition, and after a preposition we use object case him. Object case of pronoun after a preposition. So the answer is D. Please keep in mind that in our Pakistani tests there is no E option. In international types of questions there is an E option which means no error, but in our case it's mostly in 99% cases it's not relevant. Pronoun error examples. Even with a calculator you must have a basic understanding of mathematics if one expects. Now the problem is over here we use the pronoun you, so we have to carry the same stream along. One is a different pronoun, it doesn't align with you, so you expect to solve complex problems. So you expect should be here. Pronouns, related to pronouns, earlier we discussed some Examples regarding cases of pronouns. Now some other aspects of pronouns including cases. Bill, whom was a businessman. So this whom shouldn't be there. Whom is an object. We need a subject over here which can carry this was, which can align with this was. Next, thermometer is a device. It is. A thermometer is a subject. When a subject is used, you cannot use a pronoun because a pronoun is used when there is no noun mentioned, no subject mentioned. So a thermometer is a device which is used. This it cannot be used over here. Some types of dogs which may live as long as 20 years. This is an example of an extra word used in a sentence. Some types of dogs may live as long as 20 years. So this which over here is extraneous. There is no need of this word. Walt Whitman's first book of poetry, Leaf of Grass, baffled the public when it was published in 1855. Over here, the underlining is not there, but certainly we can come here and see that this he is wrong. It's faulty reference because Walt Whitman's first book. So the actual subject is the book, not the writer. So over here, it should be something like it. Next, there are some preposition errors that we need to discuss. Prepositions are words that link nouns, pronouns, and phrases to other words in a sentence. They show the position of other words. They are the positioning words. Prepositions that are commonly misused in sentences are the following. Preposition errors. I saw a good film in TV. I saw a good film. This in is wrong. There can be on or some other preposition. But in is wrong because in means inside the physical body of TV, which is not certainly meant here. Dan was present in the wedding. Dan was present. This wedding is an occasion. For an occasion, at is used. They arrived to Paris. This to is wrong because they arrived. With arrive, we don't use to. I went to Barcelona for visit a client. I went to Barcelona to visit a client. This for is wrong. I always gain weight at Christmas. I always gain weight on Christmas because Christmas is an eve, and for eve of a single day we use on. Okay, now let's look at some one preposition error example in the form of usage question. The question is in front of you. After seeing Andy fall into the crocodile pit, his friend admitted that she was worried for him. To be worried about is the correct answer. Next, Mary was excited for Paul, who completed his goal of swimming across the English Channel last spring. In this sentence, there is no error. Actually, as I told you, mostly such type of questions in which E option is also there. Such type of questions are in the international exams. In Pakistani scenario, there are only four options: Alpha, Beta, Charlie, and Delta. But this question was included in the discussion just to give you an idea that in this sentence there is no error. Okay, regarding preposition, some example sentences. The pitch of a tuning fork depends on the size and shape of its arms. So this off should be on. Dynamics is a branch of physics that deals with. Over here it should be with. And in nowadays, air travelers do not have to worry as much about getting air sick as. So over here, this preposition is extra. No need of in nowadays. Misplaced modifiers is another area, very important area of error identification in entry tests. A modifier is a descriptive word or phrase inserted in a sentence to add height to the thing it modifies, to add further elaboration. Example, because she was a talented poet, so this talented is a modifier. April could write great music. This great is also a modifier. Most modifiers are adjectives, though adverbs are also modifiers. Because she was a talented poet in modifying a phrase is a modifying phrase in the sentence. It describes a characteristic of April. So misplaced modifier error examples are there. Every time he goes to the bathroom outside, John praises his new puppy for being good. Who's going to the bathroom outside? It's John. No, it's supposed to be the puppy. In this sentence, there is a problem. Every time he goes to the bathroom outside, John praises his new puppy for being good. So the descriptive phrase Every time he goes outside needs to be near puppy for the sentence to say what it means. Note, be careful with sentences that begin with a descriptive phrase followed by a comma. Make sure what comes after the comma. What comes after the comma is the person or thing being modified. Correct sentence should be every time he goes outside, the puppy is praised by John for being good. Misplaced modifiers example. As one of the most delicious Italian restaurants in town, the eggplant roulatini at Lorenzo's is highly recommended. The answer is C, because as one of the most delicious Italian restaurants in town, the eggplant roulatini, this roulatini is a dish. So certainly in this sentence there is a problem that it seems to be a restaurant. So this is just another example of misplaced modifiers. Then there is an other important area of error identification in usage and correction questions and fill in the blanks questions. Parallelism. In grammar, parallelism is a balance of two or more similar words, phrases, or clauses. The application of parallelism in sentence construction can sometimes improve writing style, clearness, and readability. Basically, the wording of the sentence flows logically. Fix to make the sentence parallel. Example, for homework, the teacher assigned 10 multiple choice questions, one short essay, and students were to complete a cross puzzle. In this sentence, and students were to complete is extra and it is making the sentence wrong. It should just be and a crossword puzzle. This and will be used, but the rest of the sentences, the rest of the words, four words are extra. Some more examples of parallelism. The botan is the botan is a wild flower that grows in shady fields, in marshes and mountain slopes. Okay, so the botan is a wild flower that grows in shady fields, in marshes, and in mountain slopes or on mountain slopes, because all the components of this parallel structure are supposed to start with prepositions. This component should also start with a preposition. Dr. Digit temporarily employed to control adjustment and correct complex. So in this sentence, control is a verb and correct is a verb. So this adjust should also be a verb. This meant is making it a noun, which is wrong. The purpose of American Dental Association is to improve dental health care, health and promotion, and to promote. Because the purpose of American Dental Association is to improve and to promote. It should be parallel. Industrial designers try to make products attractive, efficient, and safe. Safe is an adjective, and efficient is an adjective. So over here there should be another adjective, attractive. Attraction is a noun, so that's why it's wrong. In parallelism, there is an example of parallelism. The new restaurant has fresh food, reasonable prices, and service that is fast, and fast service, because the parallel components are adjective plus noun, so there should be adjective plus noun. This adjective should be here, fast services, and this that is wrong. The children were arguing in the lobby, talking during the movie, and complained. So talked is simple past verb, complained is simple past verb. Over here we should use another simple past verb. It shouldn't be a progressive verb. So it should be the children argued in the lobby, talked during the movie, and complained. All of the verbs should be simple past, and in that way they'll be parallel. The children argued in the lobby, talked during the movie, and complained. Next example, every morning I have to feed the dog and bring in the meal. Next, our neighbors spend a lot of time shopping, visiting friends, and going movies. So over here, this is not parallel. It should be parallel to shopping, visiting, and going. My aunt is selfish adjective, impatient adjective, and kind. Just. So she is not parallel. Amy is laughing, answering the telephone, and working on the computer. होना चाहिए. It should be working on the computer. Laura usually either braids her hair or is putting or puts. It should be or puts. Parallel structure example in the form of a usage question or spot the error question, as it occurs in most of the tests, including MDCAT. As a new member of the secret society, George was required to shine the senior members' shoes, to carry their books, and never to reveal. It should be never to reveal and never revealing the identities of. Actually, as a new member of the secret society, George was required to shine the senior members' shoes, to shine, to carry their books, and never to reveal. It should be delta. The answer is delta. Okay, now let's look at verb form examples. Word form is again an important aspect of error identification. The part of speech should be according to the context. The dog should be checked regularly by a veterinarian to ensure that it remains in good health. So good is an adjective, and after that we need a noun. Healthy is an adjective, so healthy is wrong over here. Field mice are extremely destructive. Over here, it should be destructive to natural vegetation. Sue's White's interest in the law and public affairs led her to an active role in the woman suffrage means voting, movement, and resulted in various public appointments. So various public, because various public are adjectives, so after that there needs to be a noun. Word choice. Small town newspapers often urge readers to make business with local merchants. Small town newspapers often urge readers to make business. Make business is a wrong word choice. It should be do business. Next, alike their close relatives. This alike is wrong. Like. Alike is an adverb. Like is an adjective. We need an adjective here. Advertising ranks as the most important source of income by far for almost magazines. Over here also, it shouldn't be almost, it should be most. Most magazines, because magazines is a noun and we need an adjective most over here. A well is a hole sunk in the ground to bring water to another fluids, to other and or other fluids. Another is wrong. There should be other. So these were four examples of word choice mistakes which may occur in your test. Articles, as you people have been studying, articles are yet another example of error identification questions. The most butterfly eggs coated with a sticky substance that holds them to plants. In this sentence, most butterfly eggs coated with a sticky substance. This the shouldn't be there, and I think there's a slight problem with this sentence. Most butterfly eggs are coated. I think in this sentence, verb is missing. It was by mistake. I'm trying to write are. Okay. A number of large advertising companies have the headquarters in New York. A number of large advertising companies have the headquarters over here. Headquarters, their headquarters may be there, but headquarters shouldn't have any article with them. An epiphyte. This article should be an, because this word epiphyte is starting with a vowel, and the word starting with a vowel take an. Maria Geobert Mayer shared the 1963 Nobel Prize for the physics. Physics is a subject, and we don't use article with it. So it was these four examples were regarding article errors. Comparisons mostly regarding the adjectives and adverbs. Basketball is played at a much fast speed than. If there is a than, we should be faster. We should be using faster. The deep oceans contain some of the strangest of all, because there is an expression of all, so it should be strangest living creatures. More as a million people in the United States. More as is wrong. Most of a million people in the United States are now enrolled. Scientists think that genes may control a person's body size, intelligence, and resistance to certain diseases. This question, by the way, gives is also an example of parallel structure, but it is also related to comparison, so there should be intelligence. Word order is yet another area of error identification. During pioneer times, the Allegheny Mountains were a barrier major to transportation. A barrier major to transportation. So during pioneer times, this is a kind of word order problem because during pioneer times, the Allegheny Mountains were a barrier to major transportation. This too is giving problem. In Philadelphia's Franklin Institute, there is a working model of a human heart large enough for visitors to walk through. This large should be here and this enough should be here. The common toad molts or shed its the common toad molts or sheds its outer skin times several. Molts or sheds because over here it's this S is used, so over here there also be a, should also be an S. But basically we are not focusing on it. Several times. Several should be here and times should be here. Dania's victory upset gave Thailand its 13th and last gold and clinched fifth place in the overall standings. This overall should be here and standings should be here. So I hope you got it. Conjunction. Conjunction forms major chunk of the error identification questions in enter tests. Let's look at some of the examples. Laser beams have important applications not only in medicine but also. We are supposed to use but also with not only. So with not only, this section is wrong. It should be but also in industry. Brakes and clutches serve very different functions in an automobile and their principles of operation are nearly the same. This and is wrong over here because and introduces two parallel logically streaming ideas and chunks of the sentence. Over here there is a shift, there is a turn of the flow. So the sentence should be brakes and clutches serve very different functions in an automobile, but their principles of operation are the same, nearly the same. Brakes and clutches serve very different functions, but their principles of operation are nearly the same. So, because there is a difference, there is an antonymous difference in different and the same. So, the words different and the same can't be tallied and conjuncted through and. They should be tallied and conjuncted through. Cayenne pepper comes from the seed pod of the pepper plant, which is dried or then ground. This or is wrong. It should be and because in the second example there was a shift in the sentence, and over here there is the flow of the sentence. So we need the and, not or. In the United States, the legal holiday is January 1st, and Americans begin celebrating. This and is wrong. In the United States, the legal holiday is January 1st, and Americans begin celebrating on December. So this and is wrong. There should be so, because it is not introducing two parallels, rather it is introducing the cause and effect stream. So is used for the cause and effect stream. Redundancy means using some extra words which are not needed. So redundancy shouldn't be there. Using redundant structure is wrong. There are some examples of possible question types which may occur in your tests. Many people don't realize how impressive a famous painting or sculpture can be because they rarely seldom. This rarely and seldom is redundant because both of them mean the same thing. To make iron, the metal must be isolated, separated. This isolated and separated are both of them mean almost the same thing, so it's redundant to use them along. Effective relations between labor management are very high important in an industrial society. Okay, dear friends and colleagues, students, that was it for today's lecture. We talked about some miscellaneous errors and we tried to determine what are the mostly common areas which may occur in your tests. So today we talked about miscellaneous grammar errors that may be the base of your usage and correction questions. Thank you very much.